Welcome, everyone, to the ISD 191 Legislative Committee meeting. Today is Tuesday, March the 22nd, and it is 6 p.m. Joining me this evening are Director Anna Werb, Superintendent Dr. Teresa Battle, and Executive Director Lisa Ryder. So, welcome, and I think our one agenda item is an update on the legislative exemptions that are working their way through the House and the Senate. Dr. Battle?
Thank you, Director and Chair of the Legislative Committee, Hume, and Director Werb. Just to recap where we are, as you know, we are in the legislative session has commenced. Both the House and the Senate have both received our legislative exemption, so that we can use any sale of property once we pay off the debt, that we have some flexibility, not only capital, but also for some other needs in the district. And so in the House, it has been moved forward to the omnibus bill. And so, as you know, that takes both the House and the Senate to approve and then the governor to sign. So it will be a waiting game for that piece. The Senate, our author, Senator Duckworth, has introduced it, and it has moved on. And as of the last update, Lisa Ryder, you want to give us the latest update from his legislative staffer? Was the last time we heard from the status of that action. So that's the one we're trying to monitor, so it gets moved past the next committee.
Right, the last committee it needs to get through is the Finance Committee at the Senate, and Senator Duckworth has put in a request for it to be heard. It is not yet on the agenda. We checked this morning for the agenda for today. It was not there. It's not there for tomorrow morning, but it did not look as though tomorrow's agenda was exactly complete yet either. So we're keeping an eye on that, and they have assured us that they'll also reach out to us as soon as they can get it on the agenda to be heard. We're hoping that does happen before Friday.
And then the recap, so they do have hard deadlines.
Yes.
And so that's
Friday.
why we need to check every day, because they're approaching some deadlines.
This may be more a question to ask the legislator, but they aren't here, so I'll ask you. So the House has put it in the omnibus bill, which, like you said, if it gets passed, it has to get passed by the Senate and signed by the governor, and the Senate is not currently going that route. Is there a possibility that if the Senate keeps it moving forward, that could be the version that ends up getting passed, and the House could remove it from the omnibus bill and then go with the
That's a
Senate
good
version?
question.
Is that something that could
Yeah.
happen?
So one thing I have to verify is exactly how that movement happens. It was my understanding initially that they both have to have, since we have a partner bill, that they both must clear the committees. And if they don't both clear the committee, my question is whether or not the House one can continue and be sufficient or not, and I don't know that that's possible.
Got
So I
it.
believe we need the one to come through Senate Finance to fully be able to ensure that we make it to the next level.
Right, whatever
we'll
that is,
check
whether
on
it's in the
that.
omnibus or as a separate bill.
Right.
Okay.
And when you said there's a deadline, are you talking about a deadline for it to go before the Finance Committee?
March 25th, all initiated bills in each House and Senate must clear the committees by March 25th.
Okay, so
So
we
it's
have to
Friday.
get heard by Friday.
That's why we're checking
Okay.
every day. We checked here too, so.
In
And
order
this
to
is a
stay-
very unusual
moving through, It
year.
has to have gone through the committee by Friday.
Yes,
Yes,
that's the
that's what-
deadline.
yep.
And it's a very unusual year. This is not a funding bill, so to have an omnibus, that's something new
That would be true.
too this year. This isn't a funding year. I think it's because of the surplus.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we need to check on that. We're not sure, as Director Hume asked the question, we need to check on what happens, because it's not a funding year.
Yeah, the exact nature of what it would look like in the end is what I hear you're wondering about.
Yes, correct.
so is it solely up to Senator Duckworth to get it before the Finance Committee? I mean, who's the one who's in charge of trying to get it before the Finance Committee? Whose job is that?
This is where lobbyists would be pushing to have something heard, and for people then to be voting upon that. But at this point in time, we are waiting for it to get onto an agenda, and it's my understanding in our communications with Senator Duckworth's assistant that he is doing his best to make that happen.
I'm just wondering
So
if
he's
there's,
carrying it forward.
is there something we can put out to the community to say, call your legislator, somebody, we want this heard, so please, what is there something we can do to like?
So it's interesting, at the last parent meeting we had, I did include that with the parents and the staff member in attendance, the please call. We touched on the legislative agenda. As you know, it's a part of that. So we have been giving that message, but it doesn't hurt to repeat it again.
I think it has to get on an agenda, though. And
Right.
that's really what we need.
Okay,
Because once
and
it's
that's
on the
the
agenda.
lobbyist's job to get it on the agenda?
Well, we don't have one, so,
Okay.
that's our job then to try and
That's
keep
why I
pushing
would.
for it, and that's where, we've been assured that he is working to get that on the agenda,
Mm-hmm.
so there's some trust here too.
Yes.
So he's in somebody's ear, I'm assuming, to say, hey, this needs to get on the agenda.
Right. That would be our assumption too.
Okay,
So that's our update.
Keeping in mind that he's got, 300 other bills that are also
Yes.
being worked on at the same time. So, yeah.
So that's why we check in daily.
Exactly.
We'll check in again tomorrow morning. So we'll check in to see what happened today. And then because it's not a new bill, it's not on the bill tracker, right?
We go looking for it, so I have it on my bill tracker, but, Chrissy's looking every day. She's
Yeah.
gonna be gone tomorrow, so I'll be checking it.
Did the bill number change? Because I've been tracking it also.
It should
Oh,
still be
okay.
there.
Okay.
SF 2011.
Okay. I thought you said something about it, something had changed. Maybe I misunderstood you. Okay.
Okay.
Great. Thank you. Is that all? Any other
That's it.
questions?
Do you have anything else for us?
I guess, I don't know, my only question would be, I guess, if it doesn't get before, and I mean, I don't want to bring that up because that's probably not what we want to talk
I
about,
know.
but like, what do we do if it doesn't
So-
get before the finance committee?
I honestly believe that if that were to happen this year again, it's a matter of us possibly changing the language where we would then be asking for it to move from a capital account where the funds have landed and then move them to the unassigned. So if you recall, when we first began this process, there was some legislation that had been written for a very small school district, and their language was really all about just moving it from the capital to the unassigned.
another.
Yep.
Okay.
And so it's not as though we are losing out completely. It's really more a matter of making sure that the language is reflective of what our true needs are as we are reaching that point. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes.
That's helpful. They hadn't thought about that. Thank you.
That's good.
Yep.
All right. Well, if there's nothing else, then I guess we are adjourned. It is 6:08.
Great. Okay,
you.
thank you.